Welcome to the Sparks That Ignite. My name is Connie Durham, and I am the Relationship Transformer. Now, whenever you think about sparks, as in the name of the class today, the sparks that ignite, well, there's two kinds of sparks. There's those sparks that ignite love and joy and support for one another. And then there's those sparks that ignite some frustrations, arguments, anger. Which sparks do you have most of in your relationship? Well, today we're going to talk about a specific thing that I'm going to share with you here. And these are things that help ignite the good kind of sparks. Because the truth is, so often, who do we think about most? Ourselves, of course. And to every situation, there are two sides of everything. And I say in many of my trainings, it's important to look at my side and your side and to kind of meet in the middle. Usually, neither side is perfectly right, and we have to learn to meet from the middle. But for today, we're going to be looking at the sparks that ignite good things in your relationship. So I want you to see if you can figure out who this is. This is I am your servant. Who am I? What do you think this could be? I am your constant companion. I'm your greatest asset or your heaviest burden. I will push you up to success or down to disappointment. I am at your command. Half the things you do might just as well be turned over to me, for I can do them quickly, correctly, and profitably. I am easily managed. Just be firm on me. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I'm not a machine, though I work with the precision of a machine and the intelligence of a person. You can run me for profit or you can run me for ruin. Show me how you want it done, educate me, train me, lead me, reward me, and I will then do it automatically. I am your servant. Who am I? Did anybody guess who it is, what it is? I am habit. I am habit. And according to what kind of habits you have in your life, whether it's relationship habits, business habits, habits you have with your kid, habits make you who you are. And they give you great things or they take you down to failure. And just right here, we have a few habits, just touching on this because this is not really what it's about today. It's about relationships, right? But habits in making dinner. I know myself. I know a good habit I could have that I still don't have after a million years and knowing that I should do it. Planning dinner, knowing that morning or maybe at the beginning of the week what I'm going to plan for dinner, because when I'm hungry, it's already too late, right? But good habits. Maybe you manicure your yard. You like a beautifully manicured yard. Those habits of doing dishes, doing chores, and doing laundry. Also, our habits of how we treat people and how we treat one another in our relationship. Do you have the same kind of manners that you have with people at work? Do you have those same manners with your spouse? Do you treat them like you really care? Do you kind of follow the golden rule? Well, today we're going to look at the sparks that ignite an awesome relationship. And everything has to start with you. Everything starts with me because I can't control what anyone else does. So first of all, let go of your faith in money, because money's not everything, right? Let go of your faith in money and in the universe. All I hear is about the universe these days. It's going to bring something to you, and put your faith in God. Second thing is access your past and choose the part you want to move forward with. What do you want in your future? Are you carrying a load of problems or challenges from your past? And have you brought them into your future? Is it affecting you today? Is it affecting how you think? What is it affecting your belief in yourself, your confidence in yourself? 3, respect your parents, but cling to your spouse, putting them as number one. Now, I say that because I've seen way too many times there's challenges in relationships because, yeah, you respect your parents, but then you get stuck clinging to your parents all your life. Yes, we respect our parents. And I'm a parent. I have grown kids. I want to be respected. But when my kids got married and they moved forward into their own life, their spouse is now number one. I'm not their number one anymore. They love me because I gave them life. I raised them, cared for them, nurtured them. But I don't have to be number one anymore, right? So respect your parents, but cling to your spouse, putting them as number one, because that might be a big challenge and make a lot of sparks and frustration in your relationship if you don't do that. Number 4, acquire the ability to reflect on your attitude, not your spouse's. Yeah, I know. We notice their attitude a lot more than we notice our attitude, right? But often when I'm frustrated with my spouse, it's because I have a bad attitude. And there's only one person's attitude you can control, and that is yours. 5, treating one another with the same respect you want to receive. You got to treat people the way you want to be treated, right? That's part of the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Now, sometimes there's a challenge in a relationship where one person, maybe the other person, not the one listening to this, is, pretty harsh or not treating their spouse so well. You can't control that. And I once heard an analogy, and I'm going to share that because it really helps. So if you're in a relationship where you are treated badly, maybe verbally abused or talked down to, mentally, maybe even physically, and I'm not going to go there on that, but treating one another with the same respect you want to receive. I once heard this, and it's so good. So take this and remember it if you need it. It is the idea, Teflon, that smooth coating inside of a pan that slides food right off. Like you fry an egg in there and it just slides right off. And then we all know Velcro. I think even baby diapers have Velcro these days. Kids' shoes have Velcro. There's little jackets with Velcro. Velcro like sticks. And if you threw a ball of yarn at a piece of Velcro, am I saying that right now? Yeah, piece of Velcro, it would stick. But if you threw a ball of yarn at Teflon, it would just slide right off. It wouldn't stick. So the idea is sometimes we have to get things in our head mentally. And whenever your spouse is in a bad mood or has a bad attitude or doesn't talk nice or treat you nice or whatever, there's really nothing you could do but this. In your mind, act as if you are Teflon. And whenever they say something to you, allow it to just slide off and don't react. And remember not to be Velcro, where when they say something, it sticks to you. It irritates you. You may respond, or you may just withdraw, not say anything at all. You may, your confidence might be affected. So remember to be Teflon and not Velcro. Humility continuously purifies all the other values that have the potential to center us. Honesty, integrity, pure motives, respect, and beliefs in ourselves. And we first need these things: honesty, integrity, pure motives, respect, and belief in ourselves, so that we can feel good about ourselves, and then we can feel good about others. But it's always important to be humble. Number 6, having a fair division of family responsibilities. There's nothing more frustrating or brings on more sparks in a relationship than feeling like you are carrying the heavy weight of everything. So it's important to sit down and go through and divide the responsibilities, because sometimes the other person doesn't even realize they're not carrying their part. And I have a class that is called a couples roadmap. And I call it a couples roadmap to happily ever after, because whenever you sit down and you figure out your values, your goals, your dreams, and what you both want, and you kind of bring those together, then you can move forward. It can cut out with a lot of the fusses and a lot of the arguments by sitting down and doing that. 7, being a person of high integrity. When I'm a person of high integrity, then I always want the best for the other person. I'm going to take what they're saying in the best way and not manipulate it or change it around into something bad. But you be a person of high integrity. And that means trust also, right? We're trusted when we're a person of high integrity. Be the first one to say, I'm sorry. This is a big one for relationships. Some people can say, I'm sorry so very easily. It's natural because they're always sorry. They really mean it. And some people, by golly, they're not going to say, I'm sorry. You may have never heard the words from them. And those kind of things cause frustration day in and day out when one person doesn't take any responsibility. So if that's you who never says, I'm sorry, it's going to like practically choke you the first time you say it. But when you've done something wrong, just say, I'm sorry. It means so much when somebody is sorry for what they've done if they've known they've done something wrong. 9, find things in common and spend time together. We get married, we fall in love when we get married, and we have all these things we think we have in common, and we just adore the other person. And I like to say, but at some point, we start getting on each other's nerves. But when you find things that you have in common or that you like to do together, yes, there's something. I mean, you married the person, right? And then you spend some time together. It develops your relationship, because once you get married, either you continue to nurture that relationship or it starts to, have some tears in the fabric. It's like if you never nurture or pay attention or encourage or say thank you or spend time together or pay attention to the things you have in common, there's going to be tears in the fabric, and eventually that it rips. 10, be an attentive listener, because whenever you listen, it shows that you care. Now, some people are very self-absorbed and they really have trouble listening to other people. One, they may be about to talk or they have something else they want to say. And we have to remember that I want to treat my spouse the same way I want to be treated. And if they're important to me, anybody who's important, you stop and listen to them, right? If you hear, if you've gone to a seminar and you're learning your trade, you listen to that speaker at the seminar because you want to know what they have to say. And if you care about your spouse, then you're attentive listener. And how do you show that? Eye contact. When you have eye contact, they know you're listening, nod your head, it shows you care. All you have to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily towards your goal, and it will become a reality. Napoleon Hill. I love his book. It is let me grab it up here. It's Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. It's a very old book. And, when we plant the seed and we keep a good attitude, and we plant any seed, we care for it and we nurture it, we get more of it, right? I like to say there's 2 animals on your shoulder. Actually, what I always say is you have an angel on one shoulder and you have a little devil on the other shoulder. Your angel tells you what is the right thing. Your angel tells you you can do it. Your angel tells you that you're worth it. But your little devil, he says, you know what? You're not even worth it. You can't do that. What makes you think you could do that? What makes you think that person even cares about you? And so just like whenever you plant a seed, whichever little, angel or devil, whichever one on your shoulder, you feed, if you feed it good things, good words, you do good things, you think good things, you keep your attitude straight, then you're going to be able to do those things. But if you feed the devil who's going to tear you down, then you're not going to be able to do anything at all. Number 11 of the sparks that ignite in your marriage. Learn to put yourself in the other person's shoes. This is where I talk about seeing things from the middle. Yeah, women are from Venus and men are from Mars. And we really do, even with the difference in sexes, we do see things differently. I mean, we just are different. And then on top of that, there's different personality styles. Some people see the good in things, and some people see challenge in everything. Some people like to be with a lot of people, and some people like to be all by themselves. So we have to stop and think, what makes me happy? What makes my spouse happy? And put ourselves in their shoes. But when it comes to marriage, the only thing you can do then is meet in the middle, because it's not fair to stay on this side or to that side, right? And so you each have to give a little bit in order to meet in the middle. 12, have a healthy and fair view of money. Now, I could say probably my husband is super easygoing, and he would, I know when we first got married, he would buy me anything. Like, we didn't even have the money to do that, but he would be, do you like that? And he just wanted to buy it for me because he loved me. And I came from a family where I had learned to be a penny pincher, actually. And this would take us back up to number 11, meet in the middle. And I've learned through the years to meet in the middle about money. But my point of view was to hang on tightly to money. But I remember going to a seminar with my business, and Susie Orman spoke, and she said some words that changed my thought processes. And that's the name of my business, Connie's Clever Concepts. And why is that? Because one concept can change how you think about something. Sometimes we think so strongly about something, and then one thing we hear, it sticks in our head. Why all the rest of it doesn't stick, I don't know, but one thing sticks. And for her, it was this: I want you to take your hand and I want you to ball up your fist. If you hold tightly to money, yes, you will hold on to your money. But you also open your hand, cannot receive. So if your fist is balled up, you're hanging on so tightly to money, your hand is not open and you cannot receive. And so there's this balance of things, right? And that might mean nothing to you, but for me, it helped to change my mentality. And everything is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but little by little, I learned to open my hand. And at the same time I could receive, I also could be more giving because I held so tightly to my money. Now, the flip side of that is when you spend your whole paycheck before you pay your bills. That doesn't work either. 13, use the same manners at home that you use in public. So very often, a person is a very different person in public than they are at home. I mean, like, are you Jekyll and Hyde? I've seen that before. Where somebody was so nice and congenial, you really like them, and then then they beat their wife. Like, oh, that's not going to work. So use the same manners at home that you use in public, please. And thank you, excuse me, hey, could you pass the salt? Just those good manners that you hopefully learned when you were growing up. 14, focus on the good things and give praise. There are people who have a really hard time saying, I'm sorry, like we said before, but there's also people who have trouble saying, wow, that's a great job. I really appreciate you. Well, I want you to think about what that means to you when somebody says, wow, that was really good. It's that affirmation. When somebody praises or says something good about you and you're standing there and they say it to another person, think about how that lifts your spirit and makes you feel. Well, it's the same thing in marriage. And sometimes, women and men literally forget. Now, let's just take the scenario that the woman's at home with the kids and the man's at work all day. Well, the man comes in and he's been working all day, but you haven't been seeing what he's doing. And you're not really, if y'all don't talk about it, you don't know that much about his work, whatever, you don't really think about it. And, he brings home a paycheck every month. Hey, that works, right? And so you forget that he's been at work all day, because when he comes in, you're like, here, take the kids for a little bit. I need a break, because you've been, washing, cleaning, cooking, watching children all day. And the same thing happens whenever the man doesn't pay any attention and he thinks, maybe things are a mess. And he's like, what have you been doing all day? And you're like, oh, if you only knew, right? Yeah. So it's important to focus on good things and give praise in every situation. It makes you personally feel better too when you have good words for people. 15, come together with your spouse and develop your life plan. Come together with your spouse and develop your plan for life. We plan our vacation. We plan our budget on how we're going to spend our money. We plan how many kids we're going to have. Why do we not stop and plan, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years or 10 years? What do I want my family to look like? And I share this in a couple's roadmap that's always available on my website, ConniesCleverConcepts.com. Always available on my website. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Really? Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free? Yeah. Our minds, our souls, our bodies, our hopes, our dreams and ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends and country. That also is Napoleon Hill. And in this day and time, I would say if all of this is true for you, you're probably a good and happy person. But there's many people who don't have love of family, children, and friends and country. And that's a very sad place to be. And that goes back to attitude and often how we feel about ourselves. If we feel ill about ourselves, we feel ill about everything else. Do we treat people the way we want to be treated? But everything that's really worthwhile in life did come to us free. Let's do our last 5 of Sparks That Ignite, and that is 16. Let self-discipline be seen in all your responsibilities. And that means going to work, getting your housework done, doing the wash, bringing home the paycheck, paying the bills for the family. Let self-discipline be seen in all your responsibilities. And, let's be real. We all have self-discipline in some areas, and then other areas, oh boy, we do not. So choose one thing today that would make the biggest difference if you develop self-discipline in that area. 17, be aware of emotions and effects that they have on your relationship. Oh, did you know that some people's top emotion is anger? They get mad about everything, while others are so steady that they don't get mad about anything. Like they just think positively and they just let it roll. When the other person's blasting them, they just don't say anything at all. Your emotions day in and day out really do affect your day. And they also affect how you believe in yourself or what you're doing for the day, especially if you're in business for yourself or you're dealing with children all day. Your emotions really make a big difference. But be aware that those emotions affect your relationship. And that's because how you talk to each other, how you treat each other. When you're in a bad mood, do you blast the other person or do you withdraw? Will you talk or not share what's going on or what your frustration is? Emotions really do affect our relationship. Oh, and so let's also talk, there's the good side of emotions. Happiness, laughter, encouraging one another. 18, learn to use the pause button when needed. If you're a person who really gets so very, very upset very, very quickly, whether it's with your spouse or your kids, because everything that goes on in your household and your family affects every person in it. Learn to visualize the pause button. I think it is Staples that had the easy button. You hit the easy button. Well, learn in your relationship and in your life to hit the pause button at home and at work. You're about to blow, stop. Remember how they used to say count to 10 in your head before you say anything? Because once you release words, you release frustration, you've blasted it onto everybody around you, and you really can't, pull it back in. But learn to use the pause button. 19, remember to think before you speak. It's just like I started to say then, think before you speak once you've released words. No problem if they're good words, encouraging words, right? Everybody likes those. But once you've released words that crush, kill, deplete the room of positive energy, deplete the person that you just said them to, you cannot pull them back. It's like once they've been heard, they can't be unheard. Did you mean what you said? Or were you saying something just because you were angry? And at the same time, if somebody does this to you, remember that often they're just speaking out of frustration. 20, don't let the little things outweigh the most important things. Have you ever seen a parent, usually it's a parent, who just nitpicks everything the kid does? Kid can't do anything right. Well, do you know that sometimes there's adults that do that too? They nitpick and call their spouse down, or maybe they nitpick because there's a few things laying on the couch, or their laundry didn't get done, or I don't know what it is. But don't let the little things in life outweigh the most important things in your life. And whether the sparks at home ignite love and romance, or whether they spark challenge and arguments and discord, it makes a big difference. But it doesn't, if you're having troubles, it doesn't have to be that way. Who you are determines how you see others. Have you ever thought about that? You pay attention, like one person's like, wow, that person is so great. And another person's like, have you seen them do da 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 da? They see other things in them. For instance, this is not people, but yesterday I was out shopping and it was sunshiny. And as I came out of a store, black clouds were rolling around, but I could still see a little sunshine. And I said to myself, oh, it's just, actually, I said to the person walking by me, I said, it looks like a rain shower. But then as I headed to the next door, the black clouds started to go all over the sky. And I thought, maybe I was a little positive on that because it looks like it's going to rain for a while. Well, when I came out the next door, guess what? The sun was shining again. And typically I tend to see the sun shining. I tend to see the good, even in a person who's not even so nice. But who you are determines how you see others. You may see the good, or you may see all the bad things in others. Which one? Do you expect the best? Or do you see all the things that can go wrong in any situation? Well, when it comes to married couples, and when it comes to life, period, we all have different personalities. Have you ever noticed how some people have no emotion on their face? Have you noticed that some people laugh and take everything with humor? Some people are very outward focused. They're out there doing charity. They're taking food to the sick. They're doing something for people. They're always doing things for other people. They're paying attention to other people. There's all kinds of personalities. And when it comes to marriage, you might be opposite. One person may love being in a group of people and being out and about. And one person may love being at home with a book. One person loves to go to the beach. One person hates going to the beach. Our personalities really start to show once we get married and we kind of relax in, and sometimes opposite people attract because a quiet person loves that person who just looks like they're having a good time and can talk to anybody. And sometimes that dynamic person, might have a bit of a temper. You saw how awesome they were, but then they have a bit of a temper. And how do you handle those things? Well, I really believe, just like in business, where a great team learns to collaborate, I believe that a couple does the same thing. If you want your best marriage, you have to pay attention and figure out the challenges and the problems. No big deal. And figure out what you do great together, what works together. But the biggest thing in the middle is trust. No matter whether it's work team at work or whether it's at a married couple at home, trust is the most important thing. But then it's important to inspire each other, exchange ideas, talk about your day, support each other, share. And good teamwork gives you collaboration, and it helps you have a stronger relationship. So what if you could communicate with your spouse the way they want you to communicate? Would they hear you better? Would they have a better response? What if you could understand why your spouse thinks the way they do? Do you ever think, why do they even think that? Why are they saying that to me? Or why does this matter to them? What if you could know that their frustration is not about you? I'll repeat that. What if you could know that their frustration is not about you, and you could understand what's going on with them, understand what your spouse needs from you? There's certain things that people need to feel loved and respected in their relationship. What if you could effectively troubleshoot those challenges in your relationship? Would you be interested? And what if you could experience more love and support each and every day in your relationship? Well, I have a class, and it is called Communication Secrets for Couples. And it is, to me, your journey to happily ever after. Because every relationship has its challenges. And even when you think it doesn't, it still does have some. And when early in your marriage, if there's some challenges, those just grow, through the years. And there's many marriages that don't make it. Do you know there's a 50% divorce rate? And the family is the foundation of society. Two people managing expenses and houses, your house and your kids, so marriage is really important, and it gets complicated if you have, you're married once or twice or three times. Yeah, hopefully you haven't crossed that bridge. But what if you could gain insight on how your emotions affect your relationship every day? Improve your communication by learning to read nonverbal cues. They didn't have to say anything, and you're like, you start to pay attention and understand those nonverbal cues. What if you could learn to embrace one another's differences instead of being so irritated by your differences and those things tearing you apart? Learn to embrace them and maybe learn to lean on each other. Learn to understand why you shouldn't take conflict personally. Now, I personally, with my personality style, would always take conflict personally. And I now understand it's not always about me. Find out when it's best to talk and when it's best to listen. Establish the do's and don'ts with your spouse. What if you could figure out, yes, do this and don't do that? You're like, yeah, I already know some of that, right? What if you could have a more successful, emotionally healthy relationship? Would you be interested? Communication is a language, and this is what I teach, that can be learned. And when you start to learn about a person's behavior style or personality style, you start to understand that they're not doing all those things that irritate you just to bug you. This is just who they are. And if you learn more and learn why they do the things and why they think the way they do, it helps you deal better with that. You learn about them, and then they learn about you. And sometimes it has to begin with you. If your spouse doesn't want to do it with you, let it begin with you, and then maybe they'll follow. But even if you learn how to communicate with them and understand who they are, it's going to help a whole lot. But when two people do it, of course, you get 100%, right? So let me share with you what I offer. It's called Communication Secrets for Couples. It's an online communication styles assessment where you go online and it's about 45 pages all about you. It helps you understand your strengths, your blind spots. It helps you understand how you communicate, what you expect from people, what you need. It is amazing. And it also has what motivates you. This is a second science. It has what motivates you and what makes you want to do better, what, to reach for a better future. You get a live communication secrets webinar where you learn about all 4 personality styles, learn where you fit in, where your spouse fits in, what motivates you. You get a video on that. And then we bring it all together in another video where it blends those behavior styles with what motivates you. Because according to what motivates people, it colors their personality style. And a lot of these things, motivators are a lot learned as you're growing up and at home. All right, then we have a follow-up workshop with Q&A. So you get a second live workshop where I share a little bit more with you and you have a chance to ask questions. And when people ask questions, one person will ask questions and many others were wanting to ask that question, and you find out more about that. So we really make that a good, solid course to learn the communication styles. It is a $1,200 value, a $1,200 value for your online assessment and all your training. And did I put the price? All right, and so my regular price is $1,200. And the first 2 people that register today are going to get a free 1-hour discovery session with me. And that means after you've taken your assessment, I will help you decipher and talk especially about how to look at your personal assessment. Now, I have a special going on this month, and you'll see the code MarchBliss22. MarchBliss22. When you enter that in on the site below, conniescleverconcepts.com/CSU-webinar, then you're going to get a special deal that you see right here. You're going to get the deal of, instead of $1,200, you're going to pay $384. Yes, only $384. I mean, that's the price of a couple of nights at a hotel, a 2-day vacation, a few dinners out, that kind of thing. And it's only $384 for the whole course, and you're going to get the second person free. Because I know that when you take this class, it's going to make a difference for you. And then I want your spouse to be able to get it free. And so they can come back. They could take it with you at the same time, or they can come back and view it later and get their assessment later. It really gives you something to talk about and to really start to understand each other. So it's $384 or 2 payments of $204. It's a $1,200 value. So let's go over what you get again. Communication secrets. It helps you gain insight on how your emotions affect you daily. It improves your communication, and you learn about verbal cues, nonverbal cues. Learn to embrace one another's differences. Understand why you shouldn't take conflict personally. Find out when it's best to talk and when it's best to listen. Establish do's and don'ts with your spouse. What if you could have a more successful, emotionally healthy relationship? Is that something that you would want? Communication is a language that can be learned, but it's probably not anything that you've ever thought about. In 2004, I began my journey on this. I became certified, and I was so taken back and so amused by how interesting it was that people were different. First thing I did was start to pay attention to my strengths, but to my challenges. to what I did that was not good working with other people. Yeah, I'll stop there. So in this, we use the online communication styles assessment to learn that. And remember that you're going to get 2 instead of 1. And then you can both watch the webinar. It's a 90-minute live webinar, or there are replays. You can go back and watch the replay if you don't want to go to the live. You're going to learn what motivates you. And then we're going to bring it all together in another video where you bring the live communication secrets webinar, you bring that and what you learn in the motivators video, the next video brings those together so you can further understand yourself and understand your spouse. And then there's a follow-up live workshop with Q&A. You know, at this time, you can ask questions and we'll kind of review and talk a little bit more according to who is there live. There's a replay on that. $1,200 value. Remember that it's $384. You just go to conniescleverconcepts.com CSC-webinar. And you know, on the top of my webpage, every month you can find what the address will be the same, and you can find what the discounts are. Right now, this is at this time, it's a March discount. And this spring, I plan on giving some discounts on this class, but you never know, you know, when that's going to end. But you can find the current discount at the top of my webpage, Connie's Clever Concepts. So whenever you click on CSC-webinar, whenever you go to that address, then type in the code March Bliss 22. And you're going to get the $384 discount. All right, $384, get the second person free, or you could pay it in 2 months, $204 each month. How important is your relationship? What does it mean to you? And do you need this class? Some people may have everything going great and they don't need it. I hope that you learned something, and be sure and watch Love Languages tomorrow. So the third in the Power Up series, Power Up Your Marriage series, is the love languages. You know, and these 3 webinars may make some kind of difference for you in your relationship. And you may need to learn to communicate better, or you may not. But let me tell you this. Once you learn the communication styles, you can identify them at work, and it helps you understand how to work with people better at work. It helps you understand your teenagers, because if you're pushing the wrong buttons with your teenager because of their personality, they're going to rebel. They're going to push back against you. But, you know, let's be real. Parents got to have the upper hand, right? But your personalities may be conflicting. You may be just alike, or you may not be firm enough, right? But when it comes to marriage, your marriage sets the pace, it sets the tone for the whole household. And your kids, if you have kids, are going to follow in your footsteps. They're going to look for a dad just like their dad. They're going to look for a mom just like their mom. And they're going to follow in your footsteps. And so what kind of example are you setting? And would you want them to do that? You might be, yes, I would. I'm a good example. Everybody wants peace in their relationship. Everybody wants more love, to be more connected, to be more supported by their spouse. And sometimes we have to take a few minutes and learn that. And yeah, all the important things in life are free. But you know what? A class like this, it will make a difference today and tomorrow and the rest of your days once you understand how people communicate, and you can make the best of your relationship. I'm Connie Durham, Connie's Clever Concepts. I hope this class has helped you, and I hope to see you tomorrow on the love languages. Power up your marriage.